everybody. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Spirit. I am Julie Murphy and I am the author of a book called Awaken Your Wealth. And I'm the money chick. But here's the thing. The money doesn't show up and it's not sustainable to stay in your life if you're not actually building your life from the inside out. And so we work things out and we act it out, and we do that through our relationships, through our money, and through our health. And so it's super important for us to get in alignment with our heart and our soul to really bring what it is that we are meant to do here to the world. And my friend here, David, is here to help us with awakening the spirit from within yourself. David, tell everybody about yourself.
Good morning, everybody. So great to be with you. And so, yeah, I'm the energy guy. And what does that mean? Well, that means that, you know, part of what we're going to talk about today is staying in your power. And so what does that mean? And that means that, first of all, you need to connect into your heart. You need to connect into your personal authority. And I think a lot of us notice these days that there's always a lot of things that are trying to capture our attention. Because there's so many new things happening in our lives. So the minute any kind of drama happens, it can pull us off of our focus, pull us out of our intent. Can even pull us out of our emotional body to where, you know, we can be in a great place, focused, empowered, feeling like we're ready to take on the world. And then all of a sudden, emotionally, we've been triggered. And we've been triggered by something that we didn't even see coming. And we have to like show up and pretend like we're okay, right? And so part of that is building an internal structure within ourselves that gives us that strength, that flexibility to be able to kind of roll with whatever's happening, roll with the punches, go deep into your core, go into your heart, reconnect, get it. So what happens, the reactivity is always about the mind. And depending on the particular event that's happening or whatever you're being triggered with, it can take you into deep fear, and all of a sudden you're in your life stories, and you're going into your past to try to figure out your now. And that's absolutely the place that you shouldn't be going. You should be going into your...
How true is that statement?
And we've
got lots of stories. What's interesting to me, it's like, you feel like you come out of a story and then all you do is hook into another story. And then you realize you're in the next story. And this is what gets us trapped.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So in order to be in your own inner authority and be able to stay, you know, on track, focused on what's true for you, it really takes, you know, it's no different than kind of working out. You know, the more you work out, the stronger your body becomes, the quicker you can recover from, you know, a trip or a fall or whatever, and upright yourself and you continue on. Well, we need to have that kind of strength emotionally, mentally, emotionally, and particularly at a soul level. And the soul is that part of us that is, for most part, dormant. It's the part of us that carries the wisdom, that carries the spiritual integrity of our being. And that is something that takes time to cultivate. It's going in, being quiet, not listening to, going beyond the mind. And when you go beyond the mind, all of a sudden you start to realize that there's another level of knowing, another level of wisdom. And it's in that knowing that once you can connect into that, you're totally out of reactivity when you're in knowing. And then from that space, you can make choices how to move forward.
Right. Well, and a big part of this is that we need to shift our energy and our vibration before a lot of that stuff can shift, because otherwise you keep staying in your suffering cycles, right? And so for an example, so like this week, I have been, I went and did some shamanic work in Costa Rica, and then I came back to the world, and then I was like, David, I need to make sure I stay high vibration, because trying to integrate back into the world, right? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
Right.
Actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was with you for 4 days in a row, working on keeping my vibration high. And it was really interesting. Like yesterday, I had a full work day. I saw 6 clients throughout the day. By the end of the day, I had a massive migraine. And I was like, oh, I just can't interface in the world the exact same way that I used to. And because I knew what I did is I pulled all the energy up to my mind for 12 hours straight yesterday. And it was just like, oh, and really we're supposed to be in our heart-based consciousness and let our minds follow. And particularly in finance, that tends to stay up north, not necessarily go into our heart space, right? Yeah. And so it's interesting, even myself and all the work that I've done, that as we start to shift our vibration, it's about learning to interface differently in the world. And it's also been interesting to me that, I've had people, like I had a client tell me a couple weeks ago, you're being way too cavalier about what's going out in the world. And I'm like going, I just can't give it energy. It's like, I want to be the creator of my life and help my clients and my family and my friends create the life that they desire. And that means not plugging into everything that's going on outside of ourselves. And this client actually decided to fire me and transfer their money somewhere else because I thought I was too cavalier. And it's interesting, like, we as a society have been holding such a grip of you're right and I'm wrong, that this is what's not serving us, that we need to turn that button around. And we need to really come from this internal space of finding peace and harmony and really deciding exactly what we want to create for ourselves. And doing it all along the way with love and compassion for those who are not necessarily on the same wavelength as you're starting to transition, right?
Right. So, I think it's really important to, one, kind of know that we're in a new paradigm. It's like we really can't look into the past to determine the future now, because that past it's gone, it's obsolete. And so we're being, in order to be fully present, we have to bring all of us on board, particularly in important decisions in our lives. And, oftentimes we're at these threshold events in our lives where the decisions we're making are going to take us in a different trajectory than we've been before.
Right.
And, I'll give you a quick example. Before I was doing this work, I was I was a designer, always working with homes, building homes, all of that. So for me, the home, the place that we live and the energy we hold in that home is really important. And so being as sensitive as I am, I can walk into a house and I can really pick up the vibe pretty fast of whether this is a happy house, a chaotic house, it's like, I can get it right away. And being in the design business, sometimes I'd be in these spectacularly beautiful homes and I could hardly wait to get out of them because I didn't like the feeling of it. It looked beautiful, but it felt terrible. Yeah. So the point is that now as we're learning how to navigate in new ways, it's like, we got to listen to how, it's not only what our mind is telling us and what our eyes are showing us, but it's also what are we feeling? And if we're having a split or a contradiction, and we better pay attention, because something is telling us as we feel it or knowing it, that what appears is not exactly the way it is.
That is
Right?
so true. Yeah, that's true, because it's like we have to, and how we feel that it appears is typically our story,
Right.
right? And so that's where it's about, when you, particularly today, what's happening with so many people is that the story is evolving around something that has to do with fear. You know,
Right.
fear that something's not going to turn out the way they want, like the presidential election or the economy or my job or my relationships. Like, they're not necessarily, we're fearing that what I'm seeing here is not going to be what I desire for it to be. But we also have to understand that it is showing up in a way that is going to help us in our next place of our evolution,
Right.
whatever that is. So, like for me recently, one of the things that I know is a pattern that is leaving because it is up like nobody's business is this piece that I am not enough. That, you know, like, I'm not enough in relationships, I'm not enough for my kids, I'm not enough for my employees, not enough for my clients. Like, it leaks into multiple areas. And I was shown this weekend with an interface with my dad that this pattern comes from the fact that my father has told me since the day I was born that I should have been born a boy because I'm good at things. Because to him, women should be barefoot and pregnant at home and should serve the man. And I know my dad loves me very, very much, but he's old school. And this weekend, that pattern was reinforced right in my face. And I'm like going, okay, so it was about like, how do I detach from that story? And how do I then still stay in my power and let go of that subconscious wiring that has hardwired into my brain from before when I was 7 years old, which is 40 years ago, right? And we all have our story of that, whatever that is. You know, it may be that you don't feel like you're loved. It may feel like that you're not enough. It just depends on what package it's coming in, you know? And so how do we help people then shift their lives? And how do we help them shift their energy? Because it really does start with our energy, and then it has to go to the next place. So how do we help people do that today?
Well, here's the thing. We're really, I would say one of the biggest changes on the planet is that people are being called to move out of a fear-based reality into a heart-based reality, which means that you're deriving your energy out of enthusiasm, joy, creativity, and when you're doing that, you're definitely in a process of creating your reality, creating what you want to do next. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The alternative is, and where a majority of people are on this planet, is they're in a fear-based reality. So the minute
Right.
any of their old programs are triggered, they go into, a lot of times, overwhelmed, but they go into a fear-based reaction. Okay. So,
Right.
you know, it's, I used to live in Southern California, and it was interesting to be on the freeways, and there would be days when people were just skitsy, and you'd see people hitting their brakes, you know, and very reactive for really no reason, and almost creating accidents.
Right.
And that, you know, that's that fear-based, herd-based energy of fear, just, you know, kind of flowing through people.
Right.
And so the majority of the world still lives that way. But those of us that are starting to wake up, and part of that waking up is, hey, we create our own reality. I
Right.
am responsible for the vibration that I am generating. So, you know, for me, if all of a sudden I'm with a lot of fear-based people or something like that, I've because I've been doing this for so long, I'll start generating a lot of energy, a lot of creativity, and love, okay, which really is start generating a lot of light. And I know that energy always is predominant. If it's projected, people will start to feel that. They'll start to calm down. They'll start to relax.
Right.
And in fact, Julie and I and her kids had an experience, maybe a year ago in a restaurant where we went in to get a pizza, and it was just chaos, absolute
Pure
chaos.
chaos.
And I was thinking, I can't stand this, I'm just like, ugh. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, you can change it. And so we had a little conversation around the table. I think there were maybe 8 or 9 of us. And I said, we're going to change the energy of this entire restaurant. And so I had everybody kind of focus, and we really started bringing in this very high frequency of love. And within a few minutes, our obnoxious waitress said, there's this fellow, his name happened to be Michael, is going to be your waiter tonight. I'm like, great, that's my favorite waiter. And we just changed the whole alchemy, not only of our table, but the entire restaurant, from being absolutely obnoxious energy to—
Yeah, totally.
And
it was amazing on how it just shifted instantaneously. So it's really about how we show up and what energy we bring to the table that can create all the reality around us.
Metaphorically, that's very true. What we bring to the table, right? There you go.
Well, we have to understand that we're the participants in what we're creating.
Right.
Like, so many people like point the finger at other people, and you've got 3 fingers pointing at yourself.
Right.
It's like, how are you showing up in the world? Because we really actually can't control anybody else. We can only really control ourselves. And we can control what we're bringing to the table. Like, I talk about this over and over again, like with my ex-husband, that I just kept holding the space that I want the highest and best for me, my kids, and him, regardless of what was showing up actually in my life. Because if you looked at what was showing up in my life, it was everything but something that was loving and compassion. But I kept responding as much as I could in the moment with love and compassion. And I was teaching my children to show up with love and compassion. And then what started to happen is he started showing up with love and compassion. And it like flipped. And it was, and I'm telling you, it took 3 years of hitting the grindstone. It did not switch very quickly at all. But as you know, it flipped a lot in the last 5-6 weeks. And I don't know what actually caused it to flip, but all I know is the energy I was bringing was what I wanted to create as opposed to what was. And now that creation is coming into being. And it's really interesting in how when we then create what it is that we want, there's a piece of ourselves that almost feels uncomfortable that it actually then showed up. Because you're like, I'm so used to the story and the chaos of the other piece that, wow, it's actually showing up in my desired outcome. And then you have to like be with that. That, I think, is the second part of the trick,
Right. Well, what I thought was so interesting with you, Julie, and you knowing that all the stuff you were doing, all the transformational stuff, was that then your dad had his birthday this weekend, and you were like, this is the core of where it all started. This is where the story started. Right. This is what happens for everybody. Okay. It's in the family. The family unknowingly starts to program you, put you in your position, in your role. And most people never get out of that. Right. They go unconscious. And so through their life, they are playing out their role that they've been programmed into, essentially. And so this is part of waking up. When you finally go, I'm not doing this anymore. No. And it takes a lot of intent, because those programs are, I'll use the word pernicious. They are hardwired in, and it's really hard to step out of that. But every time we kind of get water thrown in our face and go, wait a minute, what am I doing? Right?
Totally.
And
Yeah, like, so for an example, let's tell people. So what happened this weekend, it was really interesting. Like, the ornaments on my Christmas tree actually tell the story of my life. And not only did my Christmas tree fall down once, it fell down twice. And all of my past in those ornaments that told the story shattered. They absolutely shattered. I had glass everywhere in my carpet and everything. And it was like all my past. And it's interesting. I have been so working on letting go of those stories and those roles and those conditions of where I was expected to show up and be and do for others in the world. And it's now designing my life for what it is that I desire and how I want to be in the world and what I would like to show up in the world. And all the ornaments shattered. It's really interesting to me of what ones survived the tree crashes and which ones did not. And the ones that were the memories of like the trip to Hawaii that was a little bit of hell on wheels, that ornament broke, you know, along with about 36 other ones. And so these things happen in our lives that are so ironic, but it's shifting the energy about, okay, now I've created space for the new memories to be put on my tree, not necessarily the old ones. And I just find it very ironic, you know, how life shows up.
so now, now you're moving from being a conscious creator, being
Yeah.
very conscious of what you're creating in your life, rather than being an unconscious creator, right?
Yep.
So most people are on bypass. They are not paying any attention. But if we don't do this work, if we don't go in and clear that stuff, our life will become, our past will become our future, because that's the way this whole thing has been designed. You know,
Right.
it's like the minute there's trauma, you go into your past to figure out what you should do, and you literally cast that into your future.
Mm-hmm.
And so the shattering, the breaking out of that and going no more.
Right.
And it's a practice, it's a process. It's
Right.
not like an instant transformation.
No, it does not happen instantly. I am here and proof of that. It's
Right.
like an onion that you peel, and there's layers of it, and you get to a deeper level, to a deeper level, to a deeper level. And that's where you find your freedom.
Right. And you know, it's just like, and sometimes in the beginning it's hard work, because you just start watching your mind and what it does, and you have to correct it and go,
Yeah.
no, we're
Yep.
not going here, we're going there, right?
Right.
And
Totally.
so I think, you know, right now the kind of the climate, if you will, globally, is there those of us that are waking up and going, you know, we are not going to be victims. We are going to be creators. We are going to be participating in our creations and in our future. And those that are just kind of getting sucked into whatever the drama is, and
Right.
you know, literally spiraling down the drain, because there's a lot of energy,
Yeah.
tremendous amount of energy.
Right.
And like, what are you going to do with it? Are you
Right.
going to, become proactive and take action, be a creator, stand in your power? Or are
Right.
you going to just like let life take you wherever it takes you? You know,
How true is that
so,
statement?
you know, I always like the warriors. Okay, those people that go, no. You know, I've always questioned everything all my life.
Yeah.
I've always questioned authority and gone, well, I'm not sure that I agree with that.
Right.
Relate to that at all, Julie?
Yeah, just a little bit.
I think that's why we like each other.
Well, but here's the thing, like I've learned being a warrior, it's like I continue to, and my divorce actually taught me this first, was we have to stop fighting. Like fighting in my divorce process always blew up in my face. It was interesting. Like even when the most asinine things would happen, then all of a sudden, like the judge would not side with me. Like, and I'm like, in what logical mind? And I would fight for the right thing and it would blow up in my face because I was being shown to not fight anymore. and to just get in the flow, because there's a bigger picture here of what's unfolding. And by me fighting, I'm resisting the flow. And so being a warrior to me, like today, is about sticking true to your path, but doing it in a manner that's not fight this is right, this is wrong. It's more about like rising to the flow and stay out of resistance, but still having this tenacity to continue to keep going regardless, even if it doesn't match your logical mind or the patterns of how you would respond in the past.
Right. So, it really ultimately, if you take it a little bit further, the evolution of the human consciousness then is to really open the heart, connect into the intelligence of the heart, the wisdom of the heart and the soul, and literally start choosing, by choosing rather than reacting. Okay. Choosing what you want to create, what is moving in front of you. So when you're angry and reacting, all you're doing is going back into the past and creating more just chaos in the future.
Same thing, right? Different face, different name, but same pattern.
Right. And so that's kind of the waking up. And we are at that point on this planet of those that are going to awaken, and those that are going to stay asleep. They can't be bothered with it. It's
well, and I want to tell people that if you choose to stay asleep, you will call in a crisis in your life to force you to activate in this new way. And it could be the crisis of getting sick. It could be the crisis of financial crumbling. Somehow your money, you wind up in this death scenario or whatever, or it crumbles from a relationship standpoint. After doing this for 27 years, I have learned that we either work it out or we act it out, and we do it through our money, through our health, through our relationships. So if we don't choose to wake up and choose to be more conscious about this stuff, it will be chosen for you. You will be let go of your job, not by your choice, because of the fact that you've known for a long time that something wasn't right in your work life, and you just didn't find the courage to step into that next space. And some people will say to me, well, Jewel, I don't know how to. Well, it starts with the dream. Like I had a client yesterday. She's like, yeah, my company's really struggling during COVID. And it's like, I just want to be around somewhere that's got energy and invigorating. But she's worked there for 10 years. And she's like, but it's what I know. And I'm comfortable on some level. And I'm like, it just starts with write the list, take out a yellow piece of paper and write the list of what it is that you dream about of the new place. What are the people like? How do you want to feel energized? Because it's not necessarily that you actually go fill out your resume, but maybe it's about just claiming what it is that you want, because that could show up in the company that you're currently at that's trying to shift, or it could be something that just shows up. His wife, this woman's husband, literally got a phone call one day going, hi, we want to hire you at this new law firm because the lawyers that moved from his firm to this other firm told him what kind of guy that he was, and they offered him exactly what they said. We want to offer you a job. He goes, I've never talked to you before. Like when you're in the flow, that's what happens. When you're clear about this is what I want to create in my life. He had no idea on how that was going to show up in his life. But this is where, by you claiming what you want to create and choose to be conscious about it, allow the universe to just have it show up for you. I had no idea that the way that it was going to show up in my world, that we wind up in a situation where we're co-parenting, that it would have shown up in the package that it did. But it shifted it all. And here we are today in this new healthy space.
So, when you're talking about flow, that flow, that allowing things to just, one thing kind of flows into another, allowing those creative flow forces to move through you is indicative of moving into that heart space, into that that place where also, and you know this well, is that a lot of people have had a relationship of fear with money. And this is like creating a whole new relationship of of flow and creativity. And Julie, I know you can talk about it even more than I can because that's your business. But it's a whole new way to express and allow money to flow through our lives.
Right. Yeah, it really is. Money is the result of doing the shifts. And a lot of people have this, what I call the hybrid model of our money, where you're income affluent, but you're not asset affluent, or you're asset affluent, and then you get divorced and half your assets go out the door. Like we go in debt and we get out of debt. Like we have this like in and out of abundance and scarcity relationships. So many of us have that. And I don't care what income level you're at, that's the pattern that I see. And so it's like, how do we get to this place of having sustainable real wealth? Because that's what's really important. And so this is where we have to shift our energy, which is why we're trying to teach everybody that's watching, like to build your life from the inside out, not the outside in. And that is one of the beautiful things that's coming from the pandemic. It's forcing people to be in the reality that they have created thus far. You're stuck in your home in the relationships that you have. You're stuck in your home and going, hey, you can't go out and drink and overeat and do all these things out in restaurants because you have to sit at home, and you're like finding out what's true for you from a physicality perspective. You know, there's all these things that are being shown and mirrored to us right in our face these days, that it's like, okay, how do we now go inside and go, what do I truly want for myself? And then how do I build that externally? You know? So why don't we pull everybody into the energy? Because I would love for people to tap into the energy and the flow of what it is that that you help people do in terms of their physical energy, not only in their physical bodies, but in their energetic bodies, which is like our auric field around us.
So, right. So what I've been, doing for years, I was trained shamanically, which means that I was trained to see the world in terms of energy, as well as in terms of the physical. And if you consider that, I'm going to go back to our homes for a moment. So since so many of us are in our homes, on one level are atomic structure. And that atomic structure is alive. And so it's like putting the energy that we want in our homes. It's like, rather than feeling that we're trapped in our homes, it's like, let me just like take the time to start really appreciating my home, my environment. Let me start like putting some energy into, maybe making it a little more beautiful, whether that means just bringing flowers into the environment or it means something else. But it's like, rather than feeling trapped, it's like, what do I have the capacity to do to brighten my world up a little bit? Make my home something that embraces me, that cocoons me. So, this whole idea of the cocoon, it's like, as I work with people, and it's like the metamorphosis from the caterpillar to the butterfly. And so there's this process where the caterpillar kind of dissolves into this liquid and this kind of cocoon thing, and then the butterfly emerges, right? And so I feel like right now humans are in that place. And so, and the dissolving is where we go, you know what, the world that I've been around, the world that I've seen is changing. I don't know. And allowing that, it's like, let me kind of dissolve and move into this recreation of myself, just like we were talking about, opening our hearts, opening our souls. let me move into this new part of my journey, into this new trajectory. So then it's like, I'm not wasting my time at home. I'm really putting my energy into transformation. And when it's time for us to come out of our homes and back into the world, and the COVID thing is finally under control, that we will have evolved into a whole nother level of ourselves. And we'll probably look back at that time and go, wow, you know, at the moment I was in it, you know, I couldn't see it, but gosh, I've been through a tremendous transformation. And I needed that time. I needed that time to kind of retreat from being around a tremendous amount of people, and go within and reflect within. And where in our society have we ever had that time? You know, most of it.
Really good point.
Yeah.
Super important, because we've not had that space. You know, I just talked to a client yesterday that they are like, you know, we just want to go somewhere warm. I go, is there a reason why you can't take your nanny and go get that camper that you wanted, the upgraded version of it? And you're both working remotely. Why not travel the whole south part of the country and go from place to place over the next 6 months? And then you're not in the winter in Chicago. And they just like looked at me like, that's a great idea. And I'm like, why not? Like, we need to start to learn to think out of the box, right? That there's anything that is possible right now. Anything. I took my children down to Texas when the school shut down for a couple weeks, and they did remote learning with their cousins that they haven't seen in 2 years. And we went and lived out in the country. We saw cows and cattle and, you know, all kinds of stuff. And that's a trip my kids will never forget. It was a little crazy, but it was a lot of fun. And when can you do that? When I'm working remotely and their school is remote, and they got to play with their cousins down in a small town in the middle of Texas, right? Like, go for the next adventure. I don't care what stage in life that you're in or what season of life that you're in is. What is that next new adventure? Because that is so important right now for you to start to tap into that, to wake yourself back up to living, to actually living, because so many of us are not living, we're existing.
Right. So I'm going to take you on this journey, this guided journey. And the point is that we're going to bring a lot of energy and light into your body. And that's going to change your vibrational field. We're going to open the heart a little bit and just get a sense of maybe what's possible on going in the inner journey and exploring that. And I know some of you are probably very experienced at this, and others it's the first time. Just let it happen the way it happens. So what I'd like you to do is go into your core. And when I say into your core, go into the center, into your center, go into your heart, and maybe the solar plexus, which is right in the stomach area, that energy. And so I want you to imagine yourself in a pyramid of 24 karat golden light. And there's actually 13 of them stacked on top of each other. And at the base of that pyramid are 3 circles of light. First circle is 13 mama dragons, second circle is 13 pointed stars, and third circle is 13 dream weavers. And I'd like you to feel this 24 karat golden plasma light code that comes from the central sun. Feel that light code coming into your toes. And often, I'm going to just say that light code often looks like either it can be like light with squiggles in it, or it can even sometimes has a geometric patterning. But however it shows up for you is perk. So we're going to bring that 24 karat golden light into your toes, your arches, your heels. Feel that moving into your ankles, and then feel it moving up your legs, moving into your hips. And feel that energy at the base of your spine. And at the base of your spine, we're going to place a central sun, a radiant sun. And I want you to just feel that radiant sun vibrating at the base of your spine. And we're going to continue bringing this golden light up your spine. And we're going to get to the heart center. And again, we're going to place a beautiful central sun in your heart center. I'd like you to just feel an explosion of radiance in your heart. And as we go into the heart, I'm going to bring a really high frequency of energy that I call bliss or ecstasy. And I'm just going to project that and see if you can start to feel that energy in your heart. Feeling your heart really kind of opening up and waking up and going, wow, what is this energy? All right. Okay, so we're going to just let that energy expand, and we're going to continue going up your spine with this beautiful 24-karat golden plasma light code, and feel it flowing into your shoulders, your upper arms, your lower arms, your hands, your fingers. We're going to place the central sun, a radiant sun, in your palms and all your fingertips. Just feel the radiance of that, the energy of that, the flow of that energy. All right, and we're going to then move to your brain stem. And at the base of the brain stem, again, I want to place another central sun, feeling the luminosity, the radiance of that, and feel it just really activating your whole, all the neurons in the brain, your neurostructure, just feeling kind of everything waking up there. And I want to create a energy like a figure 8 that goes from the base of your spine through your heart to the base of your brain stem of this radiant golden light. So there's just kind of this recirculating figure 8 that's just happening from the base of your spine through your heart to the brain stem. And so we're going to go focusing on the brain stem now, and we're going to activate your thymus gland, hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, and your pineal gland. So we're like really bringing some light into all of that glandular structure. And in the pineal gland, which is in the very center of the brain, we're going to bring another central sun. And the pineal gland is a really important gland because that's the gland that connects you to expanded awareness and consciousness. So, we're going to let that gland activate your connection into the multiverse, which is your expanded levels of awareness. We're also going to have that activate your the multidimensional and holographic brain functions. These are new, more evolved brain function that's being activated in humans now. And I want you to just feel kind of a radiance and luminosity just kind of coursing through your neurostructures, like just feeling everything switching on, all the neurons switching on, waking up, and we're great. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to have you now, we've been in this pyramid, but I'm going to have you spiral out the apex of the pyramid, spiraling out your third eye, out your crown, out the apex of the pyramid. And we're going to be now traveling through this galactic corridor of radiant light. And the galactic corridor is kind of like a spiral of radiant light that, you know, it's almost like when you see these surfers that are surfing these spirals of in the water, surfing the tube, if you will. Well, this is like kind of surfing in a cosmic way, going through these spirals of light. So we're going through this galactic corridor, and we're going to merge the plasma of the central sun. Central sun is plasma, with the plasma of your merging it with your heart center, and also merging it with the blood. So as we merge the plasma of the central sun, we're going to be creating a whole flow of this radiant plasma light through your entire pulmonary system. And as it moves through your pulmonary system, I want you to feel like the crystals in your blood switching on, feeling You're feeling the blood filled with this light just coursing through your entire body. Feel it moving into all your veins, the capillaries, just vitality of this light coursing through your field. And from there, we're going to continue traveling through this galactic corridor and come to a galactic gateway, moving through the initiate. And we're going to come to this beautiful, these beautiful fractals of light and this beautiful kaleidoscope of prismatic or fractal light. And so as we come to this kaleidoscope that's spiraling in a clockwise direction, I want you to feel yourself being pulled into the very center, spiraling into the center of that, into this radiant light. Some of you might see it as an oculus or an all-seeing eye, but we're going into that light, being pulled in. And I want you to feel that as you're being pulled into these fractals of light, that your whole light body is starting to be reconfigured with these light and light codes. It's just feeling, and as you're doing that, feeling a cleansing of your entire energetic field. Feel as you're moving through these radiant fractals of light, that they're purifying, clearing away any negativity, any clearing away fear, clearing away any old stories that keep dogging you or bothering you. We're just going to like feel that energy moving and we're going to go right into the sun. So if you were to go directly into the sun and into the central sun and just feel that beautiful light moving around you and moving through you, and feel that connecting you, just like something is switching on. Okay, it's like all the circuits are switching on in your entire consciousness throughout your body, because the light, that central sun, nourishes us. It's the thing that nourishes the mother. And so the mother, the earth, and she's going through her transformational experience. And so it's like we're all in this synergy of transformation. And as we're spiraling into these levels of light, we should feel like, literally, like I said, things switching on. All of a sudden, you're feeling a connection. You're feeling maybe perhaps the call deep within your soul, deep within your heart to wake up and fully embrace the opportunities that are presenting to you. And as old falls away, the new comes forward. And to feel that you have the capacity to step into the new, that even though it may be new to you, that you have the ability, and as I said, the capacity to walk into a whole new relationship with yourself. And as you walk into a relationship with yourself, you're going to have a new relationship with everybody. And feel how exciting that can be, that literally, but your job, if you choose to take this path, is to learn how to connect into the power within you, to cultivate that and to bring it into a really strong, coherent field. Because this is the creative force within you that then starts, as that builds and it gets stronger and stronger, that is going to implement the changes that are going to be, that you want to make, or that are going to be made known to you. Sometimes you're going, well, I don't really know. I don't know what I want to create. I don't know where I'm going. So that part would be, well, then let it be revealed to me. Let my soul, let the journey be revealed to me, and allow that flow that we've been talking about, allow literally the magic of that flow, things that literally come out of nowhere and present to us. And then as things present to us, it's up to us to recognize it and go, oh, I think that's what it is. Now, once we go, that's what it is, then it's a matter of stepping into it and connecting with that flow of opportunity. So I'm going to increase the energy here, and I want you to just feel the vibration in throughout your body and in your field accelerating, really accelerating, so that you can meet the opportunities and the amazing things that are about to come forward for you. That out of the shadows comes tremendous light, tremendous creative force, creative and love that you break out of. And it was just as Julie was talking about her Christmas tree, all the years of the collection ornaments fracturing and falling away, so that literally it's like all new is coming. And to step into that radiance and step into that joy and step into that passion and allow yourself, everything to switch on and come alive. And maybe you make the decision right now, today, that you're going to do this, even though you don't really know how. It's like, yep, I'm in, I'm going to do this. Let's go. Let's make this happen. Let me go through a total restructuring and a rebirth into a whole new me. So, Julie, I'm going to pass it back to you. And
yeah, I really want people to choose to create the space in your life to have the emotional space, particularly, to create this next season of your life. We are going to have things unfold over the next few months that are probably going to be pretty intense for people. And actually, the astrological charts show that it's going to happen all between now and 2024. And the more we can create the space to get in aligned with our hearts and our souls, this is what is going to create amazing, sustainable expansion and personal happiness. And that's truly what I call building your wealth from the inside out and creating a life of happiness all along the way, regardless of what's happening in the macro environment, whether it be politics, our educational systems, our medical systems, our financial systems. All those are being revamped today. And how we can show up is just doing your part in your individual world. And that just means attuning and aligning with your own heart and being that daily in the world. And know that you're not going to come out of the gates perfect. Just not going to happen. Trust me, I'm a perfectionist. I'd love for it to be perfect. But it comes in a package that is just authentically you. And that's okay. And it's about, did you get back up on the horse? And did you keep aligning with your heart? Keep aligning with your soul. And keep doing that day in and day out. And continue to find a community. I've created this awakening series. Awaken your health on Mondays. Awaken your spirit on Tuesdays, awaken your work life on Wednesdays, and awaken your relationships on Thursdays. And I'm going to start doing Awakening Your Wealth on the money front. And so for all of you, what's really super important is that you find a community to support you in getting to this next right step for you in your world, in what it is that you want to create. So come join us. And next week, we're going to be launching that I am going to be giving out a free copy of my book. So look out for that. We'll be putting the links in, or you can go to juliemurphy.com. And looks like we lost David there. I think his computer went out for some reason. But join us again next Tuesday for another session of Awaken Your Spirit. And I love you all very, very much. And I hope you the best day ever. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.